Understanding narcissist triangulation, spot it, and shield yourself. Navigating relationships as a trauma survivor is already a delicate process, but when dealing with a narcissist, things can become far more complex and emotionally exhausting. One sneaky tactic that narcissists commonly use is something called triangulation. It's a form of manipulation meant to create insecurity, confusion, and control. The good news is, you can learn to spot it, protect yourself, and regain control of your emotional well-being. In this video, we'll explore what narcissist triangulation is, how it unfolds, why it is used, and most importantly, how you can navigate around it to ensure healthier emotional boundaries. Triangulation is a manipulative strategy often used by narcissists to exert control in relationships. At its core, it involves the introduction of a third party, either actively or passively, to shift the relationship dynamic. The goal is to create tension, increase insecurity, or provoke jealousy. Imagine a triangle. The narcissist is at the top, while you and the third party occupy the other corners. The narcissist uses this setup to pull strings and maintain control over you, often at the expense of your self-esteem or emotional stability. Examples of triangulation include comparisons to others, such as, "Why can't you handle things as calmly as Alex does?" or favoritism, where someone else's needs are visibly prioritized over yours. In some cases, the narcissist may create conflicts between you and the other party, encouraging competition for their approval. While triangulation can exist in any context, romantic relationships, families, or even workplace dynamics, it is a hallmark of narcissistic behavior that primarily serves their ego and power. Triangulation isn't always obvious at first. The tactics are often subtle and can leave you questioning your own perceptions. Here are 3 common ways triangulation shows up in relationships. Comparing you to others. A narcissist might compare you unfavorably to someone else, such as commenting on how another person does things better or more efficiently. These comments are deliberately designed to make you feel inferior. Favoritism or exclusion. The narcissist might openly favor another person, even a stranger, over you to create feelings of exclusion or inadequacy. You may feel as though you constantly have to prove yourself to get back into their good graces. Conflict creation. A narcissist might pit you against someone else, planting seeds of discord that push you to compete for their approval. For example, they may say things like, "You wouldn't believe what Sarah said about you," only to later say the opposite to Sarah. Each of these tactics serves to destabilize your sense of self-assurance, creating a dynamic where you seek validation from the narcissist instead of trusting your own judgment. Triangulation is a tool narcissists use to maintain power in relationships. It fulfills specific needs for them. Control. By keeping you in a state of insecurity, they ensure you remain dependent on their approval. Ego validation. Watching others compete for their attention or feel threatened feeds their sense of superiority. Conflict avoidance on their part. They manipulate others to do their dirty work, creating drama between you and the third party to avoid taking responsibility for interpersonal issues. On a deeper level, a narcissist's use of triangulation stems from their fear of losing control and their need for constant admiration. But recognizing their tactics is the first major step toward protecting yourself. Trauma survivors are often more susceptible to triangulation due to the emotional scars they carry. Historically, you may have been conditioned to prioritize others' needs and disregard your own boundaries. If you've experienced emotional manipulation in the past, especially in formative years, it may be easy to fall into a pattern of seeking external validation. This is precisely what narcissists exploit. They target those who are empathetic, eager to please, or uncertain of their self-worth because these individuals are more likely to tolerate manipulation. It's crucial to understand that this manipulation is not your fault. The vulnerabilities that make you susceptible to triangulation arose from circumstances beyond your control. With heightened self-awareness and healthy coping strategies, you can reclaim your power and forge stable, fulfilling relationships. Spotting triangulation can help you break free from the toxic cycle before it escalates. Here are some key red flags to look out for. Unfair comparisons. If the person frequently compares you to others, friends, family members, or even strangers, it's a sign they're trying to chip away at your self-esteem. Exclusion and isolation. You may feel deliberately left out of important discussions or events, while someone else is clearly favored or even praised excessively in your presence. Confusion in communication. Messages may seem inconsistent or contradictory. For instance, they may praise someone to you but criticize them behind their back, making you uncertain of their true intentions. Us versus them dynamics. You feel compelled to compete with another person for the narcissist's attention or validation, even though the narcissist is the source of the conflict. Being aware of these behaviors is empowering because it allows you to name the problem and stop internalizing blame. Recognizing triangulation is important, but what's next? Here are practical strategies to shield yourself. Trust your instincts. Pay attention to feelings of discomfort or confusion, as they're often reliable indicators of manipulation. Set boundaries. Communicate your limits clearly. For example, refuse to take part in discussions that compare you to others or involve bad-mouthing someone who isn't present. Detach emotionally. If you notice triangulation happening, try to detach from the drama. Respond calmly rather than reacting emotionally, which the narcissist might use to further manipulate the situation. Refuse to play along. If the narcissist tries to pit you against someone, opt out. Say something like, "I don't feel comfortable being involved in this discussion." These steps help weaken the narcissist's power over you, allowing you to regain control of your emotional boundaries. Protecting yourself from triangulation involves not only guarding against manipulation, but also fostering your inner resilience. Here's how you can reinforce your emotional well-being. Cultivate self-esteem. Spend time doing things that make you feel confident and worthy outside of the relationship dynamic. Practice affirmations or engage in hobbies that bring you joy. Seek external support. Talk to trusted friends, family members, or a therapist about what you're experiencing. Having a safe space to process emotions can make a big difference. Focus on self-care. Engage in practices that nurture your mental health, such as mindfulness, journaling, or physical activity. Center your healing. Remember that you're not responsible for fixing the relationship or the manipulator. Instead, focus on your growth and recovery. Triangulation is a tactic designed to undermine your emotional stability, but it's not invincible. By understanding its patterns, setting boundaries, and fostering your self-esteem, you thrive even beyond toxic dynamics. A stable, loving relationship is one rooted in respect, authenticity, and equality, not manipulation or power plays. You deserve this kind of meaningful connection in your life. Reclaiming your power from triangulation isn't about confrontation, but about strengthening your boundaries, bolstering your self-worth, and surrounding yourself with people who truly value you. You are more than enough as you are, and within